Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of Tantra and Tea. So, last week I got into talking about spirituality versus sexuality. These are just open discussions, open conversations. Of course, I look forward to your feedback and your questions when you decide to post them if you feel called to ask and share. And for this week's episode, we're getting into something a little bit different. But first, let me take a sip of my tea. It's really decaf coffee. Don't tell nobody. Okay. For this episode, it's not all about sex, but it is about masculine and feminine energy. And before you even start to go there, no, I'm not talking about gender. I'm talking about yin and yang, the qualities of the energy, the different ends of the spectrum. And why I wanted to do this episode on It's Not All About Sex is because for the length of time that I've been teaching practical Tantra, everyone's mind naturally goes to sex first. Like Kama Sutra, like BDSM. And yes, there is that. And there are also two different paths of Tantra. They call it the white path and the red path. And there's also like ancient Tantra and like modern Tantra. And here I am with the practical Tantra. So you got all kinds of Tantra. When I think ancient Tantra, I think Kama Sutra, the Magdalene manuscript, initiates of Isis, things like that. When I think modern Tantra, I think BDSM, dominant submissive, all the different realms that can go into, right? So that is the red path, where it's much more, I feel like, this is just my opinion from all the things that I have been learning and the things that I've been trained in. The red path is much more focused on the physicality, the expression of desire through sexuality and physical interaction. And the white path is much more spiritually and like energetically practiced based. Let me know if that makes sense. So, yeah, it's not all about sex. Surprise. It is about sex, but like the sex part of Tantra is like maybe, I want to say 10 to 20% of it. The majority of Tantra is about the embodiment practices, the spiritual practices that create a foundation for you that eventually lead into the more physical expressions and connections from yourself to another. Tantra really starts with you. And as I'm starting to talk about this, I'm beginning to realize that now I'm getting into a little bit of a teaching space here. So just bear with me for a bit. And for those of you who are new here, who stumbled across this channel and this episode, hi. It's a joy to have you here. New subscribers, welcome. My name is Winter. I'm a sacred feminine medicine woman, and I help women come back into alignment with their authentic, radiant selves through practical Tantra, plant medicine, particularly Egyptian blue lotus, and sound healing. So I'm so happy that you're here. I have beautiful offerings. If you're liking what I'm laying down and you'd like to explore further, either for your own journey or maybe a journey with you and your partner, links are below. Okay, so back to it. Some of you expressed interest in the possibility of a class. I have taught Tantra 101 before, in person and remotely, so I'm happy to bring that around again. It's really all levels friendly. Whether you know nothing about Tantra or you know something about Tantra, and you just want to be in a space where like it's safe and welcome to talk about the things, ask about the things, all of that. So I'll put the link to that Tantra 101 class in the description box. Okay, let's get back to it. Masculine and feminine energy. Now, I know that we live in a world where there's different ideas and perceptions around gender. And in the space of Tantra, all of that is held because Tantra is non-dualistic. You can have like two opposing concepts or ideas be held in the same space, and it's totally okay and accepted, which I freaking love. So, for the sake of our limited language, I'm talking about English, I'm using masculine and feminine not in the sense of gender, but in the sense of polarity, right? Like divine feminine, divine masculine, and going into those qualities as textures of expression, right? So, what might that look like or feel like if you identify as a man or woman or non-binary or whatever you identify as? We all contain these energies, these polarities. So, for the sake of language, if you don't like the flavor of using masculine and feminine, totally cool. We can do yin and yang. We can do soft and hard. We can do yielding or firm. We can do light and dark. You get the picture. So the reason why it's about these energies and not completely about sex is because we're talking about Tantra as a spiritual embodiment practice, creating a deeper connection to ourselves first. For me, that's what Tantra is all about. Creating a deeper, richer relationship with oneself first before either moving towards relationship with another or being open to receiving the possibility of relationship with another. And I have to say, it was a key part of my journey in order to be able to have the relationship that I have now. So, before Tantra, before Tantra, I was the one making the lists of qualities I was looking for in a partner, what I did want, what I didn't want, all of that. I was doing spells, I was doing honey jars, I was doing manifestation lists, I was putting in a request every new moon. This is what I want. I was petitioning the deities and source and God. But I wasn't ready because I wasn't aligned. And when I say that I wasn't aligned, I mean that my own inner polarities were off. And that's not a bad thing at all. When I see that they were off, I mean that my inner polarities weren't in the alignment to receive what I wanted. Instead, very often I find myself in a very young, a very masculine polarity because I'm a small business owner. I've had my own business for the past 8 years, serving women, doing energy healings, teaching, facilitating retreats, doing coaching sessions, all these things. That takes a lot of yang energy. Let me define yang a little bit more in this context. So that takes a lot of planning, structural energy, analytical energy, logical energy, right? And what do we usually associate those energies with? The masculine. So I was very much in my masculine energy, and so I consequently was attracting partners who were masculine, but they also had a lot of, they were men, they also had a lot of shadow feminine qualities. They were emotionally manipulative, they were narcissistic, they would gaslight me, like, and I didn't understand, like, is it me? And there is the concept, the idea out there that if you're an intuitive or an empath, we have a tendency to attract like these wounded types to us when it comes to dating. But it goes deeper than that. So I want you, as a little exercise, to just reflect. If you're not in a relationship, or even if you are in a relationship, if you're not in a relationship right now, reflect upon the kind of partners you've had in the past. How were those connections not satisfying for you? And then just like do a scan, take a look at who you were back then, and see like what kind of energy was predominant for you. Like what energy was predominantly showing up for you in your fields. Like how are you navigating life? Were you navigating life in a more yin way or in a more yang way? Okay. And if you are in a relationship, if you're not happy with it, that gets a little bit more nuanced. But you can do a similar scan to see what are you not happy with in a relationship, like in the way that maybe your partner's showing up, maybe in the way that you're showing up, and like taking a look at the polarity of energies, like how those are playing out. And know that if you're in a partnership and you're not happy with how the dynamics are, like maybe you want to be more in your feminine, you want your partner to be more in their masculine, like try shifting more into your feminine without saying anything into your partner, and like see what happens. So going back to, that's what I was attracting because my polarity wasn't aligned for what I actually wanted to call in. And then I started getting into Tantra. I started like taking workshops and getting trainings and all of that. And all of a sudden I started to get really clear. I started to get really freaking clear. I already knew that I want to be in my feminine because I was in my masculine like most of the time with my business. I want to be able to step away from my business and then relax into my feminine. But in order to do that, I would need someone to be able to hold their masculine energy, hold the masculine frame, hold that structure for me. So when I was at my clearest, I was like, wait, I know what I want from a partner. And it had nothing to do with the freaking list that I had been revising that was like 2 pages long. Had nothing to do with the list. You know what I got clear about? I got clear that all I wanted a partner to do for me was to completely love and accept me for who I am. To completely love and accept me for who I am, and be able to love me from that space, from that masculine energetic space, and be able to support me as such. And when that clarity rolled in, I tell you, I cried. I freaking bawled my eyes out, because I was like, oh my God, that's it. It has nothing to do with what kind of job, what they look like, where they're from, how they're built. Like, it has nothing to do with any of that. And so I set my intentions thusly of like, okay, now that I know this is what I want, I trust that Source will fill in the rest of the blanks. Because Source knows the list. I had been working on it for 2 years. Source knows the list. I don't need to tell it nothing. Like, it knows. It knows my taste. Okay. So I handed it over to God. I was like, God, you're my matchmaker now. I'm leaving it in your hands. I'm gonna trust you. Can you do this for me? This is really at the core of things what I want. You can fill in the rest of it because you know what I like. And I let it go. And was it 9 months later? Wait. I left Colorado in June, July, August, September, October. 4 months later. Okay. I mean, when I manifest, I do it pretty quickly. I don't know if it's a manifesting generator thing, but 4 months later, Mans shows up and I'm like, oh my God, you're exactly what I've been desiring. So, and when I first met them, I told them about the things I was into and Tantra, and we did some energy play and stuff like that, and they were totally open to it. So, long story short, connection starts at the energetic level before it moves into the physical level, before it moves into physical intimacy. Tantra starts at the energetic level when it comes to self-knowing, self-intimacy, self-connection, before you move into the outward expression of that physicality and sexual expression. If you found this to be helpful, please like. If you are enjoying the content so far, please subscribe. I am so thrilled I finally reached 100 people. Like, this is amazing to me. And it's really nourishing for my heart and for my soul. And it really encourages me to keep going and keep showing up and providing these. So this weekly vibe is feeling really good so far, because it gives me some time to like read your comments, respond to them, see what people are feeling, what y'all are wanting more of, and then like creating something for it. It turns into a two-way conversation, which I'm really enjoying. And yeah, once I have the details of that Tantra 101 class, I will put that in the links below. But until I see you next time, I hope that you are having a wonderful eclipse season. Happy new moon. It's tomorrow. I'm recording this on Venus Day on Friday, so you're going to be seeing this on Monday. So I hope that you had an amazing new moon eclipse weekend, and I will be talking to you soon.